Okay, thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call this March 18th, 2025. Minority Leader Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe that the county should move more toward or join the New York State paid family leave program. It is much more cost efficient. It pays up to 67%. It does have a cap on it, but it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. It is fully employee paid, and it's not a lot of money. For $1,000, it's like up to $3 a week. We should have went in that direction. County exec said this doesn't cost us anything. It sure does. It costs us lost productivity. Joining the state programs already in place would have been a much better option.
Majority Leader Ushtel.
Thank you. The reason the state program is less expensive is because it provides much less benefit to the employee. There's a limit on the amount of time they can take. There's a limit on the amount that they can earn as compared to their actual wages. So we're actually providing full wages for 12 weeks. There is a problem in society about how hard it is to raise a family. And folks are quick to criticize how people aren't having children, but the reality is it is very hard to have children when you need two people to earn an income, and we don't have a culture in this country of having proper leave for maternity or paternity, for family leave. And so this is a much bigger step in the right direction. I don't think that we should try and tighten it back and pull back from the county workforce. We want to give people the flexibility to raise families. And if you think that that's an issue, which I do, you should support this program. And we should actually be doing more.
Legislator Maloney.
Yes, my wife and I have 4 children. I think they were all brought in to this world with at least one of their parents working for the county. I was actually one that wrote the breastfeeding policy that we're still not following because my wife had to go knock on Jim Farina's door and ask him to leave the office so she could pump and then put breast milk in a refrigerator, a community refrigerator. We're still not in compliance with the policy, unfortunately, but I do give a damn about mothers. One of the reasons I find myself over here with the Republicans is because of the way we look at men and women, and I think they're different, and I don't think we're being fair to women. I don't think we're being fair to women on the sports fields or in the locker rooms with biological men, and I certainly don't think that a policy like this should treat men and women equally. I don't think it's feasible. I don't think it's sustainable. I think there should definitely be extraordinary circumstances, but I don't think a father, I don't think I should have gotten 4 months off. I don't think our country's going to be able to handle that if every mother and father get half a year off every time we bring a new beautiful life into this world. Yes, there's extraordinary circumstances that should be written in, but I think watching my wife and I experience childbirth those 4 times, I think it was her that really needed to be home for 4 months, and that's just the reality of what I think is reality. And I think it should be a different number for fathers and a different number for mothers in the county. And I think that makes a lot of sense, and I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I hope it doesn't. And like I said, you can come up with some very particular, niche, extraordinary circumstances, and I think we could write that in. But we're kidding ourselves if we think we're going to be here in 50 years as a country and continue to pass these things that cost the taxpayer so much money. And there are a lot of people out there that we're supposed to be providing services for that have children. We have children living in cars with their parents, children living in tents with their parents, and we're letting people take half the year off when they have their children. And I'm all for it for the mother. I'm all for it. But let's be real. That's why I'm a no, and it's not because I'm against this in general. It's because, once again, I'm not just going to be a yes because I agree with some of it. We can do better. We can save money and still provide, and I don't think we're doing the best possible job we can do here.
Legislator Litz, followed by Legislator Collins, followed by Legislator Nolan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I put 34 and a half years in the state system. I had children, maternity leave through the state. It wasn't all that bad. And I am definitely for parental leave program. But I am going to tell you, and anybody who knows me, I'm fiscally responsible, and I tend to vote no on any resolution that has TBD under the financial impact. I know it's tough to put a number, how many people are going in county service are going to have children this year, but you can look at historical numbers, you can look at the average, you can look at whatever, but I really hate to see TBD, to be determined. There should have been a number there, $20,000 plus or minus, or something. I mean, to vote on something that is TBD is against my nature. It really is. I'm probably going to vote yes on this, but it's going against the grain because I like to see real numbers so that the taxpayers see real numbers, not to be determined. To be determined can get us in a lot of problems.
Legislator Collins, followed by Nolan, followed by McCullough, followed by Harmon.
We've had discussion earlier in today's session about supporting our employees and making sure that they get compensated correctly, compensated accurately. Part of supporting our employees is to make sure that they have the ability to raise their family in the most effective way possible. Part of that is the beginning of a child's life. Whether you're a male or a female, sorry, I get emotional. It's important. It's important to be with your kids. It's important for you to bond with your kids, whether you're male, female, or whatever other gender you identify as. It's not about just a female, not about just, sorry, that's it. Thank you.
Legislator Nolan.
Yes, I just want to say that I want to voice an objection to the term biologic male or biological male. That's not a scientific or medical term, and I don't think it helps us. It tends to be used to deal with appearance at birth, but appearance at birth does not tell you what a person's chromosomes are. Even the chromosomes don't tell you what the person's hormones are. Even the person's hormones do not tell you if the other cells in the body respond to those hormones. And none of that tells you what the psychic orientation of the person is. So it is a term that's used, I think, to divide instead of to understand. And I would like to speak on behalf of understanding. It may be that we should use some other measure of who competes in what sports arena than either the appearance at birth or the appearance at the time of the competition. Maybe it should be the testosterone level or some other measure that generates fair competition. So I think we could have conversations, but to do so, we need to be clear on some things. And I also would like to say that if somebody asked me to call them John instead of Jonathan, I do that.
Yeah, we are getting a little far afield here.
So
thank
this
you.
was a comment that was made, and I appreciate the body hearing my concerns.
Absolutely. Legislator McCullough.
I just want to say that if we're not paying people the way we should be, and we're able to help in them other ways, then we should absolutely do it, especially when it's regarding family. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Harmon, Maloney for a second time, Stewart, Hewitt.
Thank you, Chair. I think one of the things that we are missing in this conversation is disparities in generational economics. So, you know, for many of us in this room, when we were at the point in our lives when we were having children, the economics were vastly different than they are now. People in their 40s and 30s live in a gig economy, and great. So we're talking about county employees, but we don't know the circumstances of the other parent. We don't know the whole picture. nor should we, nor do we have any reason to. But to say that it's not all that bad, it wasn't all that bad, great, but that doesn't speak to everyone's lived experience. And when we start to then parse what parent can stay home when and for how long, we presume a great deal about the makeup of a wide variety of families. So we're presuming circumstances that look like ours, which is exactly not the way to legislate. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Legislator Maloney for a second time, followed by Stewart.
Sure, I
followed
100%.
by Hewitt.
Yep, I 100% stand by everything I said. I'm open to talking further. I think there is a lack of reality that has just begun to dominate politics on every level. And if we have the money to pay for people to have kids and be home for that long and not provide the services over at DSS, work at, respond to domestics, respond to, I see the individual over there that goes and saves everybody's lives or attempts to out on the river. All these different important jobs. If we have that kind of money, can we at least pay our employees first when we come up with these wonderful ideas that we obviously are sitting on all this money and we have all these contracts that are out and over. And from what I hear, the offers are not acceptable. I heard a salary study a presentation today that was ridiculous and lacking, and everybody, half the people in this room come to all these meetings just waiting for us to finally pay them. As we give ourselves raises, we do have the money. We have the money to let both parents sit home for 4 months. We have the money to give ourselves raises, but we don't have the money just to give you the raise. But we do. We're sitting on $100 million. So as we come up with these neat-sounding things that'll sound great in the paper, they're very progressive, can we just pay the unions? Can we just pay them and then have this conversation and see what we can afford?
Legislator Stewart.
I was just going to add that I think having a generous parental leave package will greatly improve our county's workforce, their morale, and it'll also help with retention. So I'm just saying those are additional benefits of
Thank
such
you.
a policy.
Thank you. Legislator Hewitt for the first time.
Thank you. I just want to thank the executive for this innovative and generous package for creating equal benefits for our employees. My wife and I both worked part-time when we raised our babies, and we chose to work part-time, and we also chose massive debt because we wanted to pour love and education over our children, and that put us in massive debt. So if we can support our families who work for the county, they can have children like my children who go to great colleges and have good relationships with their parents, because our parents should spend time with their babies. Thank you.
Thank you. Minority Leader, Deputy Minority Leader Lopez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the resolution is well intended. I'm not against a lot of what's in it, but I look at it as face value, and my concerns are the lack of detail. And I would like for the sponsor or those that are more familiar with the proposal to perhaps shed some insight. The resolution doesn't address whether the employees will continue to accrue benefits, such as health care insurance, retirement contributions, or paid time off during their paid parental leave. Another concern is the possible impact on smaller departments within the county may face greater challenges in managing workloads in the absence of employees on parental leave. The resolution does not address how these departments will manage staffing shortages, and without additional support or guidance, this could lead to operational disruptions. Let's see. It also mentions inclusion, there is no mention of inclusion of fostering. The resolution mentions bonding and caring for newborn or adopted children, but does not specify whether fostering families will be included in the program. It may be important for the policy to exemplify and include fostering as a valid reason for parental leave to ensure equality and support for the employees as well. So, I think these are all issues that need to be addressed before we move forward. Again, I'm not against it, per se, but without addressing these issues, which I think could be, a simple fix or clarification, if sent back to committee, would come out as a stronger piece of legislation and something that I personally could support.
So are you putting forward a motion to send it back to committee?
I would like to do so.
And is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
So there's now a motion to send this back to committee.
Which one, Mr. Sheriff?
Yeah, which committee would this go back to?
I'm going to say Ways and Means, because it's a personnel policy and they oversee personnel, and that's where it came out of.
So there's a motion to send this back to Ways and Means, and it's been seconded. Pardon me? Yeah, on that motion.
Short no on this side, I believe.
I'd like to just add on the postponement, maybe we could talk about other things that are in the state law, including caring for an assistant or caring for a loved one, a family member with a serious health condition, whether it be a child and or a elderly parent.
So we're in the middle of a vote on the motion to
Actually,
postpone.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd be willing to withdraw that motion if the sponsor and/or others who are more familiar with this policy could answer some of the
So
questions
it's
that I've
been,
raised.
it's been brought forward and seconded and voted on at this point. So what's our
We
proper
just got to finish
procedure?
voting on it.
We have
Well,
to
that-
finish voting on this.
Well, can I withdraw that motion?
Can you
It hasn't been
withdraw
voted
after
on.
all that
Right.
process? It's been seconded and voted on. already.
Long roll?
So,
Could I call a long roll?
Kevin, did you vote?
Kevin?
I didn't vote
We didn't
yet.
vote.
even on something that's been voted on already?
Only 15 out
Yeah,
of
so we've-
23 voted.
So we voted, so this side has voted
No ability to call a long roll at this point?
after a vote has already occurred?
So when a minority or majority leader quickly says no on behalf of his caucus without even looking at him, that constitutes a vote and takes away the right for a long
I'm
roll?
asking our legal counsel whether,
That's your discretion. You can permit a long roll even though we've already begun the voting process.
do you agree, minority counsel?
I concur you have the discretion to call that long roll or not.
So we'll call a long roll.
So no one's
This is
yet voted.
on-
Can
and
he
this
withdraw
is-
now?
So we have a motion and a second. Can this be withdrawn with a motion and a second on the floor? Counselors?
Point of order, we've already voted. We can't take the vote back.
I'm getting the counselors' input on this, so let's, this is why they're here.
I
So-
haven't voted.
Correct,
My vote was never registered.
correct. You have not voted yet.
The
That's
vote has
correct.
not been fully tallied. The chair exercised his discretion to permit the long roll from happening. If the second wishes to withdraw a second and the movement wishes to withdraw the motion, then the motion can be withdrawn.
So does the second want to remove his second? And do you want to remove your motion
Frank, are you
to?
withdrawing your
with-
motion?
I am withdrawing my motion.
And I am withdrawing my second.
Okay, so we're back at zero. We're back at,
Are you calling the question? The original question?
so we're back at the original question, correct?
You're calling it.
So we're calling the
No,
question
Mr.
to the
Chairman?
resolution. Yes, sir.
No, I'd be willing to change my vote in the affirmative if either the sponsor or a member of the supporting caucus could answer the questions that I raised.
Majority Leader Uchitel, if you
Thank
would
you
like
so
to
much
take
for
it.
describing the Democratic caucus as the supporting caucus of the family Leave Act, the Family Leave Plan here. I really appreciate that, first of all. Second of all, my understanding is that that benefits would continue to accrue. My understanding is that fostering isn't included in this, and if we would like to include it, it's definitely there's a different nature to that type of family, and we should definitely discuss that as a separate program. I'm incredibly proud to support this. I'm honestly shocked that there's opposition, but I guess I shouldn't be. I'm often shocked about what's coming out of the Republican Party these days. Maybe I shouldn't be. But hold on. You were asked for a comment from the supporting caucus. So that's what I have to say, and I can't believe we're having this conversation.
I'm going to call the question at this point.
You got a long roll, Mr. Chair.
I'm going to get a long roll. We're going to call the question.
On Resolution 119, Clinton, yes. Collins,
I've never been more positive of a yes before.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Criswell,
Yes.
Donaldson,
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Gaveris,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hansett,
Yes.
Harmon,
So happy to say yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Kitchen.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, but I want to explain my vote. Once again, the other side of the aisle wants us to vote on something, but they didn't put forth any policy with any details or anything or a financial impact. I think it's a great idea. Of course, I'm going to vote for it, but I'd like to know what the details are before you vote on something. That just makes common sense. You haven't put together any kind of details, proposal, financial impact. But I'm going to vote yes, so I can, it's a good thing. I just hope that we see a packet or a policy somehow put together so we know what we're voting on sometimes and what the impacts are. Thank you.
Kovacs,
I do not oppose helping working families, and I do not oppose parental leave in principle. What I do oppose is rubber stamping an expensive policy with no cost analysis and no plan for implementation. The responsible course of action is to table this resolution until a full fiscal impact study is considered. We should demand a breakdown. Overtime, temporary workers, long-term fiscal effects. Until we have those numbers, it is imprudent to pass this resolution. I'm a no.
Levine,
Yes.
Litz,
I will explain my vote. I earlier said, I can't even remember the last time I voted for something that said to be determined when it came to fiscal impact. I do believe there's things lacking in this resolution. I know there's a lot of foster parents out there that would love to be able to bond with their new child. That probably should have been included in here. But, like we always do, we're gonna pass things right away. It's immediate, it's gotta be done. We're not vetting it. We're not gonna look into it and see what's the best thing to do. And even this session, we had resolutions put forth in the consent to modify a resolution we did a couple of months ago or a month and a half ago, whatever it was, because we shoot from the hip. We don't take the time to do things right. We keep going back and amending laws and resolutions that we passed several months ago because we don't take the time to do it right. I'm a yes on this. I think it's very important to have parental guidance and leave for a new child, whether it's an infant or a 6-year-old. I would have liked to have seen also something in here about being able to take some time off when you have a failing parent who's aged. Both of my parents, I wish I could have spent more time with them. But we're not addressing that here. We're gonna shoot from the hip. Gotta do it right away, right away. Everything's right away. Even some of these other resolutions tonight brought forth at the 11th hour.
Point of order.
Why do we have to do everything?
Talking about other resolutions.
Yes, please stick to
Why
to
do
this
we have to
resolution,
do
sir.
our resolutions, including this one, so fast that are not totally vetted or
Legislator
in
Litz,
some,
could you please stick to the,
in some,
what we're voting on right now,
I'm talking about
please?
this one.
Okay, thank you.
And we're not doing our due diligence to do good legislation that is complete. So we don't have to keep going back and doing amendments. I'm a yes on this because I think it's very important, but we gotta start spending time on our legislation and not keep ramming it through and then having to go back and redo it.
Lopez.
So I wanted to be a yes on this because I believe in it. And, the issues that I raised, I think, were important ones. And the way that it was answered, patently and blatantly ignored, I think, the ones that were probably most important. And the only one that was addressed was the inclusion of fostering, which a solution was proposed to do additional legislation, when I think the easiest fix would be to include this. It wouldn't take much, an amendment possibly, but something that could be done in committee rather than reinventing the wheel. So the fact that that wasn't addressed, I think is unfortunate, and because my questions weren't answered, and I'm gonna be a no on this only because I think it could be better.
Maloney.
When did Noah build the ark? Before the rain. And it's raining. We have a $37 trillion debt. Infrastructure across the country is a mess. Water quality in every town across the United States is scary. I could go on and on. These things that we want to do that sound great, that we can't, that so many of us are scared to be a no because it could
Point
be
of order.
better or
This
they
is
don't
not
just
about
like
the
it. Excuse me, it's exactly about it, and I'm sick of being interrupted when I'm giving a specific spiel
Please
on.
please continue,
It's
Legislator
just the
Morales.
interruptions.
Please-
It's every
please continue.
month.
Please
The
continue.
interruptions.
Please
You
continue.
may not like what I have to say, but you got to listen to it. It's still a
Legislator
democracy.
Mullen, please continue. He's getting it.
So, my wife, as a county employee, has brought more life into the world than every single legislator here combined. It is not as if I do not care about the quality time that a mother or father gets to spend with their children. It is about sustainability. These children that we're bringing into the world that we so want to bond with, what is the future they are going to have if we keep doing these things? This is temporary. In the next 5 or 10 years, we'll have to be pulling all these things back we've done as a government on all these different levels because we can't afford it, or we'll be speaking Chinese. It's a reality. We have to be real. Government is a business with compassion. We cannot forget the compassion, but we also can't forget the bottom line. And these kinds of things, when we do it blanket for both parents, 4 months with all this, and they continue to accrue time, and we have no specifics on the cost or how it's going to work, this is a disaster. I mean, we are going down. I feel so sad for my children as I sit up here in the legislature the last couple of years, and I see how we spend with no real idea on how it's all going to work. But here we go again. And those of us that are brave enough to vote no, even though we care about kids and families as much as anybody else, we're going to be demonized. It's going to be held over our head, and that's going to continue to make legislators like the ones in this body continue to vote yes on things they know should be done better. I, for one, don't do that. I vote no. I take it. It is what it is. I'll explain it to anybody that asks about it. But this isn't as good as it could be, and we could do something that we could afford to do for the next 50 years instead of the next 5 years? No.
McCullough.
I just want to say that although it's open to both parents, who's to say that both will take advantage of it? We cannot think for people or even assume what's going to happen. Let's just get this done and make it available to those that need this help at this time, especially when it comes to family. Let's not forget the family.
Nolan.
Yes, I would like to say that I see this as a both-and situation. I certainly support adjusting salaries through the mechanisms that need to happen now that we have the salary study, but we don't have to not do that because we're doing this. And I do think that foster parenting is enough different that it would be good to look at it separately. There's a kind of built-in limit to the capacity of parents to bring into this world children through the birth process. There's a sort of term limit, if you will, a full term or a preterm limit. But foster parenting doesn't have that. And I do know many foster families that have multiple children, and some of them have brought many children in a short period of time. And so we might want to consider how we could deal with that if we have capacity for that to be unlimited. And similarly with aging parents. So I see this as the start of broadening the parental leave policy that we have, which is good, which takes care of the mother in this situation, and I think expanding it is really helpful. It's intended to be good. It's available to all employees of the county. So it is a benefit that we're making available, and we should continue to do this and other things like it.
Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This policy came into effect in 1993 by the federal government. The state government passed a similar law, but required payment, buy-in, in 2018. Why are we doing this now and not the previous year? Why are we not including family members that are ill and foster kids? I think this policy was written together haphazardly and done probably because the county executive vetoed the pay raises for the building and grounds workers. And half my colleagues on the other side didn't show up for the override. So that's why they feel guilty, and now they're giving the employees this. I'm going to be a no.
Sperry.
Yes.
Stewart.
I am a yes on this, and I would say that I would also support working with any member of this body to include assistance for foster parents and those who are dealing with an ailing family member or with seniors. So I'm a yes.
You should tell.
A couple things I would like to say. First of all, Deputy Minority Leader Lopez asked questions. I answered them. The benefits accrue. I said that. The benefits accrue. And we had the foster question answered. I don't think there was another question that was asked. Second of all, I realize in my response that it is uncomfortable to have your entire party painted with a single brush stroke. I am not the first legislator here tonight who did that. It's been happening to my caucus. We get painted with a single brush stroke every night here by a member of the Republican caucus. So sorry, it doesn't feel good. I'm sure it didn't feel good to hear me say it either. And the third thing that I want to say is that I was the president of a company that instituted a family leave policy very similar to this. And it was so beautiful to watch my employees have babies and to raise their families and to retain those employees. And I'm really excited to see that in the county workforce and really proud to cast my vote yes for this.
And Walls.
This is a good resolution, and it could have been better if some of the details were flushed out. I'm a yes.
The resolution is adopted 19-4.
Thank you. I just want to remind the public that all of our committee meetings are live streamed, and that if you don't have an opportunity to see it live stream, you can view it on our YouTube channel. Every single resolution has an opportunity for debate. That they are time-stamped, so you can actually go in and you can see which resolution is being talked about at what point. So there is ample opportunity for the public to hear the debate on every single resolution that we have. So I just want to make that clear for the record.